Greetings and salutations, fellow Landsradians, the High Council, and to all of those beyond. Here we are yet again on Ebony TKR. It's the R5 Life with Leto. I am Leto II, R5 Muad'Dib of the Landsrad on server 1964 in Ebony, the King's Return. I'm trying to get really good at that echo. It's fun and becoming kind of a thing. I know you like it too. Hey, what an exciting time we have been having here over the last week or so during our 2026 Starry Pilgrimage event. We have, at the beginning of this week, recruited and awakened our newest mounted General Tishtrya. And today, earlier, we had recruited Rostam, Tistrya's companion general, if you will, in the Ode to Therein, the general's triumph. At least that's what the package is called. Um, uh, Starry Pilgrimage General Chest, and what an exciting thing that was to have recruited Rostam so early on, well before, halfway through, I believe on the 100th, during the 100th recruitment attempt, before the guaranteed amount, saving us some cold hard cash. I can't thank you all enough for being a part of that, for sending the good vibes, being a part of this community, sharing the good news of what we're doing here, and enjoying the process with me. I wouldn't be here without y'all. I love you. Peace. No, it's the end. We are just beginning. I promised. Well, not quite. I don't know if I used the word promise, but I said I was going to later on today record another video and share it with y'all, which it had to do specifically with soul binding. Soul binding there in the Council of State. Perhaps this is something you have never experienced or never looked into. You're not aware of it. I don't know. Whatever the case is, if it's something that you've been tempted to attempt, or been interested in, I'm excited about this video, this experience, to share it with you the way it should be, as far as being 100% ready to begin this process and see it through to the end, knowing that we will be able to see this through to the end. Not today. It's going to take some time for it to take its full effect, if you will. We'll get into all those details. Soul binding is a mechanic of this game that perhaps not many of us will get to benefit from for a very long time, or at all. I don't know. It's important to discuss the specifics of this mechanic, this option in the game, because it's going to take. We're going to do best if we do some serious planning, and that planning can start and should start early on. Okay, we're always going to be acquiring, compiling, and holding on to a very special and rare item called Binding Essence. Yes, this is something I think all of us, perhaps most of us, have come across at some particular time in our ebony life, namely the whatchamacallit, the Grace of Star Trail event. Okay, is where I can remember off the top of my head, and always having the opportunity to win in the spins of the Grace of Star Trail this item called Binding Essence. All right, where are you? It's so rare. Where in the world is it in our inventory? I feel like a horse's patoot now. I've gone much too far. Okay. Let's see here. Do, 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 do. I am a dingus. Do, 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 do. I was all smooth and doing this just fine. My goodness, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? No, did I pass it? Gosh dang it. Whoo! Bear with me. My, oh my, I went way too far, I suppose. Goodness. Is it that far to at the top? Good gracious. Ass is bodacious. For heck's sake. I'm embarrassed. I wish I could edit this out. I'm not going to be able to. I don't know why I couldn't. This is so important that we see the item and you see where I am with this particular item in my acquisition, if you will, because that plays a major role, all right, in when you are going to know you are completely ready to begin the soul binding process and see it through until the end. Okay, because that is what I suggest you do. This is my approach to it after having attempted to use it at one time a long time ago and then begin to fully understand. Here we go. Good gracious. To fully understand what it is going to take to see this process take its full effect and fully benefit from it with 100% confidence. My soul binding essence total has reached finally, and it wasn't that long ago. It was actually perhaps a last event or the event before when I was able to win some soul binding essence in the Grace of Star Trail, which finally put me over the 1,000 mark. All right, I've got 1,009 binding essence items in my inventory. The reason that I waited until I had this much, which is over 1,000, a power level of over 1,000. That's pretty low, according to some Dragon Ball Z fans. Let's see here, is because you will need a total of 1,000 binding essence items to guarantee the soul binding process takes full effect and is permanent. Okay? You can use the binding essence to bind two generals together, and it will last for only a certain amount of time. And it isn't until we are able to bind a general to another general in a total of 10 times. A general can increase the number of bindings by 1 for each completed binding he accepts. After accumulating 10 bindings, bindings for that general will no longer consume materials thereafter. All right, that's important. We want to bind a general with another general a total of 10 times in order to not have to use the binding essence anymore. That is the key for me, and perhaps many of you, all of you, who have used binding essence in the past or who are doing it right now. Okay? Let's take a look at the details as far as binding essence goes. Only generals with the same tag can be bound to each other. It makes sense. A mounted to mounted, so on and so forth. I don't know when it happened, but recently, I suppose, we have now the option, or if it's always been there, the option to bind a wall general to another wall general. Before, I think, when I first started looking into this, it was just ground ranged, mounted, and siege. But we do have the option of a wall general too, and that is very cool. Okay, here are the other specifics. The initiator must be a level 35. They must have all 4 original specialties at max level, and they must be ascended to the highest star level. They have to be awakened. Those are very Those are mandatory, and that goes without. And that tells us that this is a long and expensive process as far as being ready to start soul binding between generals. Specialties max level. Okay, level 35, meaning your monarch level is going to have to be at 35 as well, and they are fully awakened, all 10 stars. Okay. The binding initiator, meaning the general who is ready with those things, specialties, stars, and level 35, excuse me, all right, can only have one binding acceptor at the same time. All right, 1 to 1. And if you want the binding initiator with other generals, you must unbind the current binding. Oh my gosh, binding, unbinding, unbinding, unbinding. I do not believe it is prudent or wise to bind here, bind there, bind here, bind there. The way I am going to approach this, and I believe it would work best for us all in the long run, in the end, to have just these two generals that you have planned to bind. Since we want this to become permanent and no longer need binding essence, we want to fully invest into one general. That's the way I see it. All right. After a soul binding is interrupted, meaning if you were to break the bond before these 15 days are up, you will get a portion of that binding essence back. All right, but not the full amount. So there will be diminishing returns. This isn't something I believe is it's not wise. Okay, to do this here and there and without going the full 15 days. All right, you're going to be wasting binding essence. It's a very rare item. The only place that I really remember ever getting it free is the Grace of Star Trail. And the only other way to acquire it is usually through the King's Party event. You've probably seen it there on the different levels of the cake. That's where to get it in the largest amounts, okay? Let's see here. We are going to, over the course of 15 days each, continue to bind this general to this other general so that we can reach the 10 total amount, 1,000 binding essence total, okay, to make it permanent, if you will, so that we don't consume any more binding essence. I don't know if that means I have to continue to create the bond, all right, or if it remains permanent, but when I create the bond, if I have to, no binding essence is necessary. We won't get to that bridge for a long time, because we want to leave these generals bound together for the full 15 days, okay? The full effect. When a general has been bound more than one time, is dismissed, a portion of the materials will be returned based on the current bindings. Heads up, you'll get some things back, but you are not going to do any soul binding, use any binding essence, unless you plan on this being a, a full meal deal, if you will. Like, do not, I say again, do not go into this willy-nilly, trying it, then unbinding it and getting less back. It's not worth it. You want to make this worth it by committing to one pair and seeing it through to the end. Why? Why do we? Why do we soul bind? This is the big deal. And this is why I see this mechanic being an option. Or this is what I see it doing for us the most, what makes it most beneficial for us. We have, over the course of these last videos, yes, seen Tishtrya added to our arsenal, all right, awakened. And what do we do once we get a new general and you know, level them up as high as they can go and use them to their full effect and benefit from the most? For me and perhaps for you, we want to make sure that we are able to get into their specialties as well. Yes, I don't know about you, and you probably know, specialties are expensive. All right, they're expensive in the lower levels. Let alone, you know, maxing them out. They require very rare items as far as the runestones go. Okay, and as you go down the line here in your specialties, each runestone becomes more and more rare, okay, as far as how to acquire them. We will talk about that, and not to mention the gems that it costs to level up these specialties. All right. To make any specialty the genius level, it is going to cost you a total of 8,000 of that particular rune, 8,000, and 160,000 gems. 160,000 gems. That's just the last level alone. So consider 4 specialties if you want them maxed, and you eventually do. All right. If you want to be the most powerful you can be, all right, you are going to be spending a total of 405 and another 5, 600 and 640,000, somewhere around there, 640,000 total gems. Okay. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 400,000. Then you take another 50, and that's 5, and that's 600,000 plus the remaining 10 left over 4. All right. 640,000 gems. Woo-wee! That's a lot to have all at once. All right. Let alone over the span of a certain amount of time. So we want to save that gem, that amount of gems. Yes. Soul binding is going to allow us to save the gems and the runestone cost for our specialties. Pretty dang cool. Also, when you are investing in and building up a new general, you are going to want to cultivate them to their max potential. Yes, the maximum amount of cultivation, I've said it a number of times, and forgive me if I'm preaching to the choir once more, is 500. This green little number here, we want to get to 500 or more or close to it as much as possible. And that over time through the quick cultivation will cost you a lot of gems as well to quick cultivate there times 100. Since it's only 20 to do so now, it will cost us 2,000, and you will see that number skyrocket as you get to closer to the 500 max. Let's take a look here at Olav, who is cultivated as high as I want to go, even though I'm missing 16 here. I'm going to live with that, okay? Because if I want to quick cultivate him times 100, it's going to cost 12,400. And that was a number of times I was hitting that to keep it go, to keep it climbing. All right. The gem cost for cultivation, for maxing out specialties. All right. Actually, I'm going to take this one off here now. All right. Boom. Remove. Is a tremendous amount, and soul binding is going to eliminate that cost for us. It's going to be great today because I have spent, probably the last 3 hours or so smacking around in Epic City, all right, to get Tishtrya to level 42 and Rostam to level 42. All right. It takes a long time to do that because of the massive amount of experience you need, and hitting an epic city each time gets you about 3.1 million experience. Much faster than any other way, but still takes a long time. All right. So we want to save gems for our specialties, and we want to save gems in cultivating. And we will be able to see how much it actually saves us, because we're going to have to, in Rostam's case, cultivate him and max his specialties. Luckily, we're prepared for that. It's a perfect storm. It's like it was meant to be. I think this is going to be a very entertaining, educational, and enlightening experience. All right, to see the soul binding compared to the investment of gems and runestones together completely. All right. And then also to see our covenants take full effect, since that has been a huge part of this. I have leveled up Tishtrya with no cultivation. All right. To level 42. That is my monarch level right now. I can't go any higher. And I've also leveled up Rostam to level 42, although he is not cultivated either. So their stat points are where they essentially started, but they have increased because of their level increases, and I still do not have enough stat points altogether to unlock the Civilization Covenant. Well, we're going to take care of that by binding Tishtrya to Olav II. All right. And uh, um, uh, we will end up having to cultivate Rostam as well for uh, 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 his own covenant tree. Plus, I like to cultivate any general I have in my march as high as it can go. That's just me. All right. So this is very cool to see everything come together in full circle to get the full meal deal of what it's like getting a new general, awakening them, maxing specialties, maxing out their cultivation, and soul binding in the process. All right. All right. Okay. Something very, very important. Huge, important thing to understand. You've got to be careful and think about who it is you want to bind together. Why? When you bind a general to another general, you can no longer put them in the same march preset together. You got me? Let's say you got a new general, all right, like Tishtrya. You want to bind them with Olav II because that's what we're going to do today, because they're both maxed and it will work. You cannot pair Olav with Tishtrya now in a march. Okay? Look, we have also wall generals. I have Boudica, max specialties, and awakened. I can bind her to another general if I wish. However, I can't have Boudica and that soul bound general on the wall together. All right. So don't think that, well, I'm gonna bind Boudica to Isaac Brock, then Brock's specialties are going to be maxed and their cultivation is going to be maxed, and then I'm going to put them on the wall together. That will not work. Okay. It will say cannot pair a bound general to their initiator. I figured that out on my own by attempting to bind one general with another and then put them in the same march, and it wouldn't let me. So, important to understand who you're binding one general with, they are no longer useful for you in that particular march. I hope that makes sense. You can't pair the generals together in a march if they're being bound together. I think that's probably the best way to say it. That is a huge thing to consider when you do this. Okay? Okay. So, where do we begin? We looked at our generals, who we're going to bind to who, what it's going to take. I have a total of over 1,000 binding essences. Okay? Because I bind them once and it's going to cost me 100 binding essences, and it will last for 15 days. And once that 15 days is over, I will need to bind them together again, thus using another 100 binding essences. Okay? When I do that a total of 10 times, I will no longer have to use binding essence anymore. The purpose of this is to save on our gems and our runestones for cultivation and specialty costs. And that is going to be a lot. We know it's already over 600,000, but counting the cultivation, we're probably looking at close to, if not over, the million mark in gems alone. All right? So here is what we will do first. The acceptor can share the initiator's level, original specialty quality, and cultivation attributes until binding ends. All right? Interesting. I didn't even need to level up Tishtrya to level 42 because I will be accepting the initiator's level, which is Olav II, who's level 42. Now, I did level up Tishtrya to level 42 because I had to level up Rostam to 42 anyway. So I put them together and I got them up there together. I would have done that anyways, even though it's the initiator's level, because I don't know what's going to happen when I get to Monarch level 43. I bound with Olav at level 42. Is the level of my general going to increase with him now? I don't know. You'll see once they are bound, there are some things that we can no longer contribute to. Thus, I wanted to leave or have my general at the level, the highest level they could be, in order to keep pace, if that makes sense. All right. Perhaps not, but what an interesting thing that I kind of am catching on now. I wouldn't assume that it's going to keep them there at level 42 and you can never get them to 43. Let's not go down that rabbit hole, okay? Let's get into this so we're not going too long overall. All right. So please select the general who accepts the binding. Who is going to accept the binding? The wording is a little strange here for me. All right. I am going to assume that the acceptor in this case is going to be Tishtrya. All right. Please select the binding initiator. There we go. As far as the language goes here, the binding initiator must reach level 35, have all 4 original specialties at max level, and ascend to the highest star level. All right. That is going to be Olav. He's the initiator because he's the one who's got the specialties at max level. Yes, Tishtrya is awakened. Yes, they're over level 35, but their specialties are not maxed. So Tishtrya is accepting the binding, okay? And Olav is initiating the binding, okay? Max specialties, over 35, awakened. Now we saw what Olav's cultivation levels were. All of them were over 500 except for leadership. It was around 490 something, right? So we select here. Boom. All right. Let's click this little magnifying glass. Here we go. So we're going to see Tishtrya go from no specialties here. And the stats, their attributes here in green, they're basic ones. These are the ones that I have from Fafnir the dragon. Okay, the basic attributes 1300, 1400, 13, and 12. They're going to go to 18, 19, 18, and 17. We are adopting the cultivation attributes of Olav. All right, and the specialty levels. Hundreds of thousands, if not a million at least, as far as gem cost goes. Feel me? You will not get their star levels. If I bound Tishtrya to Olav and Tishtrya was not awakened or had no red stars, you don't get the ascension levels. Okay, you only get the basic attributes and specialties. All right. After accumulating 10 bindings, bindings for this general will no longer consume. Bound 0 times. All right, are you ready? Are you ready? Look at this here real quick for Tishtrya. Notice, as far as the experience here goes, okay, as far as the specialties go, what the wordage is, if you will, all right, and then the cultivation, what these things say. Let's see what they look like after we have bound the recipient will be Tishtrya. The initiator will be Olav. And away we go. We already looked at the covenant to see how short we were. Let's see what it will be at the end. Bind. And then it takes us to the next menu and it says bind 100. 100 binding essence. We've got 1,000. All right. If you press plus, this is how you get it. The King's Party event, almost exclusive. Okay. So this is an expensive investment that happens over time unless you're able to regularly buy in large increments of money to get all of this. I have saved my binding essence up for nearly a year to get to this point. So that is how long this has taken. Okay. Expensive process, but tremendously beneficial when you're ready to do it. Let us bind. Boop. There we go. All right. We've got a delightful timer here. We've got a delightful graphic. And forgive me, I did not say shobloips when I clicked it. Forgive me. That won't ever happen again, I promise. All right. Notice how it doesn't say it's bound one time yet? Well, I don't know if that's going to change to one after these 15 days have run their course. But I do know once the 15 days have run their course, we will have the option to renew that. All right. But for the time being, we have Tishtrya who is accepting the binding elements statistics of Olav II now. Let's look at our thing here again. It says it's nothing. It was what we looked at before the preview. We are going to leave this like so. All right. Pretty underwhelming, if you will, but we got to talk about what's necessary and what's going into it. And I gave my 2 cents as far as the best way to approach it, the most prudent, if you will. All right, being fully prepared when it comes down to all of this. Now, where in the world did Tishtrya go? That made me nervous. Tishtrya should still be one of my favorites. Did I unfavorite him? I did for some reason. There we go. All right. So let's take a look at Tishtrya's whatchamacallit. All right. Statistics or screen. We were somewhere down around 9 million and we've gone up about 1.5 million because I have now been cultivated. Look at this. It's not even going to let me cultivate. See, it's grayed out because they are binding. Look at the experience bar. All right. That experience bar is left at can no longer be contributed to. Why? Because they are borrowing the level. They are accepting the level of Olav, the general who is at 42. So when I do get to 43, I will need to level up Olav as well. And then when I rebind them, bind Tishtrya to Olav at a higher level. What that tells me is that if you are going to be binding two generals together, you're going to have to keep that general you're binding the other with, their level increasing as well. Does that make sense? Otherwise, they will continue to bond with this general at a lower level, and you don't want that. We will not be able to increase Tishtrya's level until they bind with the general at a higher one. Huh. It's kind of crazy, kind of confusing perhaps, but I want you to understand the maintenance involved, the upkeep of binding and the mechanic. All right? Awakened und binding. We had nothing as far as our specialties go, but now they are maxed. They are geniusified. Okay? We didn't use a single runestone. We didn't use a single gem to genius level our specialties. That is huge. All right, that is huge. Let's see here. I had battle tested on Olav before. I took it off of him. Now I can equip it on Tishtrya because I have the first 4 specialties unlocked. You can't use a flexible specialty unless the first 4 have been unlocked. Yes? Yes, we want that extra flexible specialty slot filled. So we have now, what do you call it? Successfully bound Tishtrya to Olav, thus negating the need for any runes and any gems to max out Tishtrya's power. Let's take a look at the covenant now as well. Boop. Is it fulfilled? Voila! Indeed it is. We were short a significant amount. We could have cultivated with gems to get there, okay? But we don't need to now because of me binding the two generals together. That is another thing that I was wanting to comment on and say before you bind generals together, plan ahead. Don't, if you want to save the most, don't bind a general to another that you have cultivated a ton and or max specialties a ton with. The purpose of soul binding is to save on all the resource costs for cultivation, for leveling as well, I guess, and for runestone cost. If you've already invested millions or hundreds of thousands of gems and runestones into this general, you are not benefiting from soul binding as much as you could. You've already spent that amount. Save it for somebody that you have not invested in at all. And that was Tishtrya in this case. Okay? You can take a level 1 general, nothing, they've not been increased anywhere as far as stats go, and boom! You adopt a level, the cultivation attributes, and the specialty level. Pretty cool, right? Since we'll have to do it another 100 after these 15 days, and I don't want to use any essence anymore, okay? I'm going to make sure that I have 1,000 in my inventory so that after the, 15 times 10, 150 days, I've got a general that I can keep binding to, and it won't cost me anything at all. I love that. You love that. You will love that when you get there. Right on. I hope that this has satisfied your curiosity as far as the soul binding element of this game. All right. We're not done though, because since I have Rostam and I want him to complete the duo, this new mounted general pairing, we are going to cultivate him with gems, and we are going to maximize his specialties. I believe we can with runestones and gems. It will be cool for us to see how much that will cost exactly. Get the rhymes, I spit hot fire. All right. Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. I should be able, oops, to get to forts again soon. Oh, boop, boop, boop. Recording another vid. Right meow. Right meow. Right now. Okay. So they are bound. We are bound. We don't want Rostam sitting over here with no specialties and no cultivation. They have not quite met, not nearly met their full potential. Let us first, now that we have Tishtrya, all right, maxed out essentially. Serena, I had spent some time leveling Serena up to level 42. They have been cultivated somewhat, all right, somewhat. 71,000 is what it cost to cultivate them. Quick cultivate 100 times. I hope I don't have to do that very much anymore, right? I don't want to get up to that 100, 124 or 12,400. All right, who else? Who else? We have got Cyrus the Great, who I have also leveled up to 42, okay, and cultivated somewhat. All right? Because getting them up to level 42 also increases their stats, so I don't have to cultivate them as much with gems. All right, we'll see how much we need to cultivate Rostam in order to satisfy their covenant. What do you call it? Requirements. I will cultivate Rostam to the level 500 for the sake of their power level and what they contribute to the march overall. But like we did in the last video, we are going to open these bad boys up. Mounted troop defense, thank you very much. Another 50. Mounted troop training capacity. Hey, cool. I still need to do some troop training. I'm not done yet. March speed. Yes, I'll take you too. Doinks. Mounted troop attack and in rally mounted troop defense. Why, yes, please. Shubloips. Okay, we're looking good as far as the stat points go, of course. All right, attacking mounted troop attack. Yeah, we like that very much. And our last one, the civilization and most expensive. Remember, 22,500 total stat points between the four generals is what you need, plus this banging march size capacity of 15. Huzzah! All right. So, in not cultivating Rostam whatsoever, we have still fulfilled all of the covenant requirements, 22,500, and we owe pretty much all of that to binding Tishtrya to Olav. Not all of it, but most of it. Very, very good, yes? See how the binding helps in so many different ways? And again, it takes a long time to get there. Hang in there. It's fun. When you do, it feels good. It's all pays off. Your patience, your dedication, your commitment to the grind. All right. But we are looking better and better as far as this new mounted pairing goes. Still, we need to see how much this is going to cost us in the end. I want us to experience this and to be aware of the total cost, if you will, that goes into maximizing a general. We all want the newest, best one, and when we get them, that's a small part of the overall journey. Drink. All right, so we are going to quick cultivate Rostam. I want their stats as high as they can go, because let's take a look at this. Let's put these two new generals in our march together, and there they are. If we go here, look at the power level. All right, all of this is gray because their attributes aren't contributing to this march. Okay, just their main skill is. That's all we need. All right, but because their power level is green, that means it does contribute to the march power. I want that to be as high as it can go. Not all of us are that way. Some of us might say we don't need to worry about it whatsoever, okay? Because it's all about the main skill and the skill books and the specialties. I don't like that. I want to get as much as I can out of anything and everything. So I am going to cultivate this general to its max so that power will increase, thus contributing overall to the power of this pairing. You feel me? Boom. Awaken binding. Oh, yeah, that looks good. We love it. You will love it. All right. Yes. Yes, yes. So we are going to, we don't even need to scroll around here. Boop, shibloips. All right. And we are going to go into our menu and now cultivate Rostam to 500 or as close as we can. I want you to see what that looks like. That's somewhere around 43 mins. Cultivating. Doop, boop, 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 boop. Rostam. How are we doing out there? I hope we're doing okay. I hope we're learning some things. I hope I didn't go over anything too fast. Okay, please, when you watch this, feel more than free, feel empowered to ask any questions, put any comments in there as far as something I may have missed or overlooked or just talked over too quickly in the binding process. Okay, I don't want it to be any more confusing than it might already be, but I wanted you to see it in action so it could all paint a beautiful picture. All right? Well, I don't want us to make any mistakes there and be kicking ourselves, perhaps at another time. All right, so here we go. I only ever quick cultivate. All right, this way. I want a total increase. All right, yeah, there are options to select the ones we want the most, and that will play a factor into things if you want when you get to the very, very high amounts. Okay, when we start getting some of these to over 500. I might not be doing this the best way, the most efficient way, but this is what has worked well for me. If you've got any other pointers for me, please, I want to hear them. I want to know them. All right. And I want to incorporate them into my game because ultimately it's all about mitigating the cost of gems it takes to cultivate our generals. Here we go. First 2,000. Look at that massive increase. All right. Huge increase on the first 2,000. We want to do that at least once. Yeah, I'll confirm it. Power shoots up 253K, but now we've gone from 2,000 to 4,000. Still not the worst cost in the world. How much more will we get? All right. Not in the hundreds, but still quite high. It went up another 600 or just 600 here. Yes. 6,400 is what we are looking at now. Went from 2,000 now up to 6,400. Still getting big increases here. And these stats will increase at different rates themselves. Okay, Judge General is different, and when they level up, some of their stats increase more than others. All right. Both politics for Tishtrya and Rostam are the lowest, the ones that increase the lowest. If you'll see the basic stat here is at 1,034, and that's quite a bit less, almost 100 in some cases for their other stats. All right. Quick cultivate, 6,400 once again. All right, confirm. Ooh, now we're at 7,100, but we've got attack up at over 300, and these others are just at a snail's pace in the 250s. Man, oh man, come on. We need some bigger increases. That was only 6 for politics there. 6. Oh my goodness. Confirm. 7,100. All right. Oh, we should have looked at the total gems. We had it here. I'm a little over 2 million. Okay. I haven't used a whole lot yet, all things considered. And we've quick cultivated, what, 7 or 8 times? All right. Again, 7,800. Again. Ooh, wow, it's a big jump to 9,200 now. We're not even close to 500 total, are we? Confirmed. Oh my goodness, 10,000. But look, we've got attack over 400. Boom. 10,000 again. Yo, 10,800. Look at our gems plummet now. Okay. This is what we have saved in soul binding. Ah, now we're getting some that even though we're quick cultivating and total increase, that's what we're taking, we're getting some that decrease. That's going to happen on your way to the top. Okay. And we are at the maximum cost of cultivating, which is 12,400. We will see our attack reach the 500 mark, but our others are far below it. What is going to happen? That is over 500 now. We're at 507. It can't go any higher. You can't go higher than 500, but it can if you get lucky and it boosts it up over, but now it won't increase. It's going to decrease. Boom. See it go down 23? I'm okay with that. Why? Because I need the others to catch up to it. And I like that it goes down. So when the others increase, perhaps all of them can go up above 500 together. Yeah? Confirm? All right. Let's do it now. We should see hopefully more greens. Yes. We're back over 500 again with our attack. All right. But you see how they're kind of evening out now, except our leadership is far behind the others now. 23 again, all right, for attack, but we saw a big old jump in leadership there at 25. We like this. Ah, politics has gone up over 500. Oh my, oh my. We're going to see more than likely our top 3 stats go up above while politics goes down, and then it might put us back to where we were so long ago. Here we go. We see here one or more has reached its limit. Holy cow. Look at how far that fell at 32. We have got a stat of leadership and defense at 520 and above, and the other two are far below, as far as I'm concerned, 500. What do we do? Right? Remember, what we're wanting to do is get Rostam. What I want to do is get Rostam's power to the highest it can be potentially. So when he contributes to this march, his overall power gives more. Let's do some quick math. We're down 26 points here. We're down 11 there. That's a total of 37 points, right? 11 plus 26, 37. We're over 22 and over 20 here. That's a total of 42. So if we were to take into account that 500 is the highest a cultivation can go, the 42 that we have made above, the 37 that are below, we are still, in my mind, a 5 stat point above the maximum of 500. I don't want to spend any more gems. I don't want to spend any more gems to even this out more. At least now, maybe when I get uber rich, uber rich, I will have some gems to do that. But that's where this comes into play. All right, I don't want to mess around with my defense and leadership. They're so high. So instead of total increase, I want to make sure that I just focus on politics and attack. All right, overall total increase of these two. Not going to do it right now. All right, I don't want to mess around with anything as far as how far we have come in this cultivation process. But if we look at our gem total, all right, our gems went down, probably a good 200,000. So that's how much we use to almost max our cultivated general, 200,000 gems or so. All right, if you care to go through the video and see where we started as opposed to where we ended here, I'd say it was somewhere, if not maybe more than 200,000. But now we have increased Rostam's power level from 800,000 or so to 1,800,097. Significant increase in power, and that is going to be going to a million here. We were at 980K. Now we're out about 1.9K in cultivating. I want that extra million in power. All right, considering that we have it, we are able to, that their power contributes. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, power level 10.5 million. We want as much power from our assistant general as possible too. So now that I have cultivated them, I took them off the march, okay? And I saved it without them on the march. And now I have added him. See how it says 980.8 still? What the heck's going on? Don't they have, see, 1.9 million. That's where the accurate number is. I don't know how long it takes, but a number we saw here will change eventually, just not right now. But rest assured, you can see what they are contributing to the march here at 1.9 million. Whenever you increase a level or increase the stat with your general, unequip, all right, take off, put back on so these new numbers refresh. That's what I like to do. All right, so that is that. Did we save the preset? Let's save it here. Now we need to go on to our specialties. Yeah, specialty. And I'm gonna take another drink of water. Very cool. That's how quick cultivation works. Perhaps we can do it better. I'm happy with what we did. It cost what I figured it would cost. I can increase some other stats if I choose to at another time, but I'm not going to worry about that right now because as far as his power level goes, it is at that maximized 5,000 or 500 mark, okay? And we've satisfied the covenant and everything. Rostam is ready to rock. Yes, uh, Tishtrya here. All right, very, very good. We have got to make Rostam even more powerful and increase and maximize, if you will, their specialties. Let's do the first one here first, and then we're going to need to, I think, get some more runes. runestones from our inventory. I think I'm prepared for that as well. And it's good for us to see what it's going to cost as well. Plenty of, what do you call these ones? I forget the name of this one. This one is the runestone that you will get the most. All right. There is an RNG element in the runestone chests. And this leadership one, I believe it is called, forgive me, is the most common. That's why I have so much. Let's see how much it costs total. I do have some lucky stones here. All right. You get those, the lucky favor from battlefields. All right. And I could get some double XP here if I wanted, but I'm not going to worry about it right now because I have enough for this particular general and I want to save up more of these lucky favors for when I am max genius leveling some generals that I'm almost there with elsewhere. All right. So I just do the delightful learn all 200 gem runestones and 4,000 gems. Boom. All right. We have 1.9 million gems so far initially. Okay. But we want these specialties, otherwise we're not benefiting from this brand new general. Oh, we're increasing big time now. 10,000 gems and 500 runestones. All right, but power levels are increasing. Yes, we need more, another 2% more at each. Why not 20,000? So that's what, 34,000 so far? My math is bad. I've already forgotten what that first level costs. All right, here is when we see a massive increase. All right, in the number of runestones. It was 200, 500, then 1,000 to get here. Here, boom, it's going to skyrocket to 3,000. 3,000 runestones and 60,000 gems. Hurt me. You hurt me. Shubloips, we're a grandmaster, which is very, very good, but we are missing out on 4%, the biggest increase here, almost the whole amount already. And here's our big cost. 3,000 to get here, a whopping 8,000 to get to the genius level, and 160,000 gems. Jeez Louise, gems Louise. Chicken squeezy. I don't know what that was, but look at this and shibloipes. Massive increase in power, massive decrease in our gem total. We were at 1.9 million, we're at 1.6 now, a total of pretty much 300,000 gems to take one specialty from nothing all the way up to genius, plus a total of 11,000, 3,000, 14,000, 15,000, about 16,000 gems of that particular type. Yowza. We've saved that much by binding Olav and Tishtrya together. That is how soul binding benefits us. When you're able to get there, all right, and save the most as far as gems and runestones cost. It's been a massive amount, Governor. We're probably somewhere, around 500,000 gems total in cultivation and fucking uh, uh, specialties already. Okay, but we want to keep this going. I have enough rune stones here for this particular. All right, specialty as well, and this one is the one I want the mostest because of that beautiful, beautiful March size capacity. Here we go. Once more, learning it. 4,000 gems. Okay. Shibloy, please. 10,000. That's 14,000 gems. 20,000 gems. That's 34,000 gems. Skadoosh. All right. Uh, I've already forgotten how much there. 14,000 gems, right? Yes, 410. Holy crap. Maybe even more. Look at that. I'm forgetting because it's so painful, but we're going. I committed to this. It's what I've planned on. It's what I've budgeted for. Holy cow, that was 3,000. All right. We have enough for this one as well to get the biggest shebangs out of it. Learn all. Genius level. Boom. There is another 160,000 gems gone, and another 16,000 stinking runestones out of our pocket. But we are making sure that Rostam is kicking buttsome for us. Here we are to our third specialty, which is requiring an even more rare runestone. The first two will be the easiest as far as runestones go to maximize because those runestones are more common. Okay, here it is now time to go into my inventory. We're at about 1 hour. All right, we have got to open some rune stones. But hey, it's Poseidon's day. I fell asleep for a day and a half, and I dropped from fourth place down to eighth. And I'm not trying to get back to fourth, but I do not want to drop out of the 10th, out of the top 10. Why? I need to replenish my Covenant Stone supply because I have opened up 2 General's Covenants. That's a total of 600 Covenant Stones that I've used. Oh, I had a lot of them to begin with, but they go fast when you are in the market of maximizing some more generals. Okay. Okay. Too bad soul binding doesn't bind the initiator's covenant, whatever you call it. All right, we went down pretty far here, and now this is where I get all the shisty ones because I can't see anything. For some reason, I'm really good at getting the crappy ones on the way up when it's dark. Not the good ones. So it's almost like not as good to get down to where it's dark because I get more of the little tiny piddly ones. That one wasn't bad. That one wasn't bad. I got far more higher value ones, if you will. Oh, but it was still under 3,000. See, I could score close to 4,000 if I don't get to the dark part. Ah, well. All right, we got points. Irregardless, not a word, by the way. I'll finish that at another time. Let's get back in here, and we need to get into our inventory and take care of our runestones. We don't have enough. Do we have enough to get these other specialties maxed? The Leto way is to get to max out a stack, right? In your inventory as far as runestones goes. The maximum amount you can have in one stack is 99,999. I will not open runestones unless I have this much. I don't care where I am or what level I am as far as my ebony life goes, because you are prolonging the painful time span there is between not having enough runestones and having enough runestones. This is You're gonna have to wait that long anyway. Wait with these with wait to get a full stack so you can get enough to accomplish what you're trying to do. Leadership, I think that's the one I said. 33.85%. Military, which was the second one, 30.77. Our glory, that's what we didn't have enough of for the time being, and we don't have enough immortal. Those drop significantly, 24% and 10%. If you're trying to max out that third and fourth specialty, this is why it's taken so long when you aren't waiting to open your runestone chests at high levels. Okay, high numbers, if not max numbers, my friends. The most I usually get out of 99,999 is somewhere around 10 to 11,000, just like it says here. How much do we need? Right? How many runestones do we need to max out to genius level a specialty? 16,000. 16,000. I might not even be able to max out, damn it. All right. My immortal now. We'll see. Maybe we'll get really lucky. It's at 10%, it's RNG. It doesn't mean that it's going to be 10%, but I would like at least 10,000. All right? So, give me some love, give me some good luck. Here we go. Shibbity bloips. Goosh. 10,635. That is good. That's what I was hoping for. That is almost exactly 10.77%, right? Almost, because 10.77% would be 10,700. Pretty darn good return. We actually got more. Oh, okay, military is the one that is 30%. This was almost on number for number as far as the percentages go. 34, 30, 25-ish, 11-ish. That's what it looks like when you open that. See, it's tempting to open 11,000. I don't want to. I might have to wait as far as Rostam goes to get that last specialty. Okay, let's get back in here to Rostam and let's figure out if we can finish the job. We have enough of these runestones now. I forgot what leadership, military, and then glory. These are our glory runestones. All right, here we go. 4,000 gems, 200 runestones, 200 runestones. Learn all. 500. That's 700 total. Another 1,000. That's 1,700 runestones. Boom. Now we're 1,700. Now 20,000 runestones, right? Because that's 3,000. Boom. 3,000. No, not 20,000. That's 10,000. Golly. And 18. 18,000 is what it cost? My goodness. Here we go. Shubloips. Massive increase in power for our march, for our general, and we have unlocked, thankfully, the first level of our last specialty. That's going to save us 200 runestones. Thank you very much. All right. Whoa, we down to 1.1 million gems. Holy cow. Look at the cost in runestones and gems that maximizing a general takes. Our soul binding has mitigated that completely. We have saved a tremendous amount, although it took us a long time to get there. But boy, oh boy, are we benefiting from this. All right. Here now, I want to essentially save as many runestones as I can on the rarest immortal runestone. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and use these lucky favors. And it's only going to save, on a few hundred. But hey, saving is saving. It all helps, right? I'm going to learn that. My liege, this, and that, this, and that. Okay, cool. We like to see the times two. All right. I don't know how much that saved us per se, but it's increasing at less of a cost of rune stones because of this 90% double XP rate or whatever. All right, there we go. Clear that. They serve their purpose. How much is it to get the next level, which is normally 500? I don't know how much we took off. We're down to 320. We probably saved ourselves 100-ish or so. Cool. I'll take it. Boom. There we go to master. Are we going to be able to make this? I think we can. Almost. Damn. Not quite. I thought I had enough. 1,000 and 20,000. Ah, that takes us down to 2 point. We need 8,000 for the last and 3,000 for this next one. That's a total of 11,000, right? I think we're right there, y'all. 3,000 and 60,000. Boom. Been saving for this. I wanted to be ready for this when this came, when it was an opportunity. I wanted to get the most out of this general as far as covenants go, specialties go, everything. All right, so I was like, save those gems, save these runestones, do this, and that. It all comes together. I think earlier today in the auction house, got the last 500 runestones or so by bidding on some at the minimum cost of 25,000 gems to get that max stat. It's like Kismet. All of this was meant to happen for us to experience together, to get the full meal deal, the 5-course dinner, if you will. We want this tremendous, huge boost in march size capacity, a total of 15, and a monstrous amount of troop attack increase of 55%. I do want to learn all. Thank you very much. Bye bye runestones. Bye bye gems. That is painful, but it is worth it. Shabloips. We went from 2.1 million gems down to 891,000 gems in cultivating and genius leveling, genius-ifying all the specialties for Rostam. That is how expensive it is. That is what you need to think about when beginning this process and or starting to invest in a new general. Okay? It takes time. It's worth it. When you get there, you should be proud of yourself. And maybe you hold off on getting a new general because you could be closer to maxing another one and they'll be more powerful maxed while the other one isn't close to being maxed, if you will. All right. Seven labors. Seven labors. I don't have any extra flexible specialties, so I'm not going to worry about that. No need. But we have significantly increased the power of Rostam for this mounted march pairing. We were at 980,000 power. We have skyrocketed to 2,090,000 power. I'm just going to round it up because of the specialties and the cultivation. All right. Thus, completing this tremendously expensive and lengthy process in creating a new general pairing. You'll notice once again that it's still not refreshed. I'll exit the game and enter, and sometime later it is going to be where we want it as far as his power level goes here. But if you look there, the 2.1 million power is there. Okay, so it's all working out, even though we can't see it there. But look at this, we have a huge gap in our March size. 3.646900 is our maximum now. All right, I'm using them to slay some lower level boss monsters while my monster slayers do more. But 3.646 million is their new total as far as March size go. Let's look real quick as we end this video. I'm not going to do the skill books on them. That could take too long. All right. Skill books are an interesting thing. I want to not be worried about this video going too long and getting too many ideas, too many things in one video. Um, Yes, we might do that at another time. Now it would be perfect to do it since we are open, but my method is way different than others, okay? And I don't think we should muddy this video up anymore as far as how much we have learned and experienced together. Real quick, let's take a look at what we had going on with Olav, okay? And Hermes, 3.646. 3,646,000 is where we are now with our new pairing. Here is Olav II and Hermes. They're, wow, 3,553,000. Actually, that's because, damn it, that's because uh, Tishtrya has this March size capacity increase. We have to see that. We have to see what it was before accurately. So if I put that on, and then I put this on, okay, 3.646 is where we were before with that equipped. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Comparison's always good. 3.663, 3,646,000, okay, for Tishri and Rostam. And we have lost 3,646. So we have lost 17,000 as far as the total amount in March size capacity with that, what, 2% deficit that these two generals have. Okay, that is so minimal and so okay for me because of the massive increase in power, okay, that we have overall power and defense for Tistria and Rostam. How cool, my friends. How cool is that? My new mounted PvP march is pretty much ready to rock. What happened here? It went up to 3,701,000. Is something glitching here? Hmm. How interesting. I thought it was 3,646,000. This is more than that. I don't know if equipping things and re-equipping things has paid off in something here. but we have just experienced an increase in march size capacity right before our very eyes. We were at 3,646,000. Now we're at 3,701,000. I don't know. I'm going to take it, but that looks way better than what it was just a couple of seconds ago. And maybe that's because I equipped and unequipped with our new specialties and everything. We want to do that. All right. So, my friends, that is going to conclude our action here, Action Jackson, with the whole soul binding, cultivating, and maximizing specialties for a new pair of generals. The cost 100 binding essence, hopefully saving up to 1,000 to make sure that you never have to use any more again. Otherwise, we'd have to cultivate and maximize Tishtryas. Anyways, don't go down that. The comparison of 0 runestones and 0 gems compared to, oh, over 1,000,000 gems. Okay, it was over 1,000,000 gems in cultivation and specialties, plus the very rarest of rune stones all together. That is what soul binding is. That is how I see it being a useful and lucrative mechanic of this game. How to save so much on so many valuable items. All right. It is worth it when you get there. It's a lengthy process, but you've got something to look forward to as far as your Ebony lifespan goes. Commit to it. Um, I'm excited for you. I hope this was helpful, enjoyable, and motivating. All right, as far as these items go and the methods to create and pair and maximize a new set of generals to their best ability and perhaps the most efficient and cost-effective way. All right? All right. Once again, this is Ebony TKR. It's the R5 Life with Leto. I am Leto the Second, Muad'Dib, R5 of the Landsrad on server 1964 in Ebony, the King's Return. Turn. Once again, thank you for being a part of this community, for contributing to its growth. All right. And its vibe, dudes, dudettes, dude peoples. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, thumbs up, thumbs down, criticism, as long as it's constructive. I listen to anything and everything. Tips, comments, help us out. I love you. Peace. I'm ready.